All right, the golden rules. The golden rules of listening. So there are some golden rules for listening. We talked about the number of questions. Once again, 40 minutes, 40 questions, 30 minutes for the questions, 10 minutes for transferring your answers to the answer sheet. But what are the golden rules? The golden rules. Number one, before the test, you need to be familiar. Know thy format. Know the format and types of the tests. And do many practice tests, as many as you can. Because you need to know the format of the questions. There are only 9 or 10 major formats of questions. I'll just read some of the names here. Multiple choice, of course A, B, C, D. Matching, you match something with something else, and we'll work on that. You may see a map, or a diagram, or a plan that you have to label, put labels on it. You have to write. Note completion, that is, there's a note, you have to complete that. You have to put words. Form completion, there's a form you need to complete. Table completion, there's a table. And events, for example, on the day, venue, the place, and the program, something like that, and then you have to. Sentence completion, there may be a sentence you have to complete. Short answer questions with short answers. Summary completion, you have to complete a summary. Flowchart completion, you have to complete a flowchart. So these are basically the different types of questions that you have. Now we will work on them individually, but it's good to know the format of the test. Why? Why should you know the format of the test and the questions?
We can predict the time of the lesson.
Look, it's a matter of time. Look, on that day, like you said, like time is of the essence. Time is money. When you're taking IELTS, time is gold. So when you look at a question, you should know. You shouldn't panic. Oh, the question should look very familiar to you. Oh, I know, this is matching. Because when you know, you don't panic. On that day, you don't have time. And you know how you should deal with that exercise. You know what you should listen for generally. Oh, in this kind of question, I should first, underline this, then I should do that, then I should listen to this. This is the kind of question. You've done a lot of practice. It makes you feel relaxed, feel at home with the question. You feel comfortable with the question, and that's very important to begin with. And of course, matter of timing and matter of panicking. But speaking of the golden rules, first and foremost, let's begin with the obvious. Most of the people who take the tests, they have problems with the obvious things. And one really obvious thing is, guys, when there's a question, read the question. Read the instructions. Now, when you are familiar with the format of the different types of questions, you'll be more or less familiar with the instructions. But always read the instructions carefully, but very fast. Because in the listening section, you need to be very fast reading the instructions. And if you are familiar with different kinds of instructions, you know how to read the instruction very fast. Because then you can use the rest of the time, because the tape gives you some time to read the instruction. And then gives you some time to read the questions. Now, if you read the instructions very fast, but carefully, you will save yourself some more time for reading the questions. That's why it's good to do a lot of sample tests before taking IELTS, to be completely familiar with the type of question. So you read the instruction very fast. You don't just wait for the tape to read it. So you read the instruction very fast. You know there's a word limit. It says, for example, no more than 3 words, and you don't. And you move on to the questions. You start reading the questions before the tape. So, instructions are very important, because there you have the word limits. It says no more than 2 words. No more than 2 words means you cannot write 3 words. If you write 3 words, that's wrong. No more than 3 words and or a number. Or a number. So again, it's important. So the instructions That's key. Read the instructions carefully, the word limit. Read before listening. Read before you listen. Of course, read the questions before you listen. Why? When I read, I need to know what to listen for. Am I listening for a place? Listening for. Do you remember in reading we talked about it and we will talk about it. We have scanning and skimming, right? You need the general idea sometimes. Sometimes you need specific information. Listening is like that too. Sometimes I know I have to listen for a name. I have to listen for the name of a place. I have to listen for a date. So this is specific information. What is the guy's name? What date did he graduate from college or university? So I'm listening for a date. That's why I need to read before listening. And that's why I need to underline the keywords. I have 5 questions. I am reading this very quickly, very fast. I'm underlining the keywords because I need to know, am I listening for a date, the name of a place, the name of a person, the name of a university, for a phone number, for an address, the spelling? If it's a table, what am I going to need? Oh, I have these things. I need an event here. I need the venue, the place here. I need that thing. So I know what I'm listening for. And when I underline, because if I have 5 questions, and then the tape starts, I want to go back, I don't remember. Yes? Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5, right? So if it's 5 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Imagine 4 here. And here, so I underline this word, this word, this word, this word, and this word. So instead of underlining it, I need to use a different color. So when I do this, when I go back to question 1, I have forgotten question 4. But as the tape reads, as I listen to the tape, to the recording, what do? I just look at the keywords. And when I finish the first one, I move on to the second one. Very quickly, the tape might be out there, but listening carefully to the end of that section is important to make sure that my choice is the right choice. But I should always keep an eye, listen for the meaning, I'll talk about it, but I should always keep an eye on the second. When I go back and I'm listening to question 1, I should keep an eye on question 2 too, just to have an idea when question 1 ends and when question 2 starts. Because in listening, one of the major problems is, and I'm listening, question 1, I don't know, did it finish? Sometimes I don't get the answer. And then I panic because I wonder, maybe question 2 is gone too. Because I listened for a long time. So how do I stop this? Because sometimes I'll listen and listen and listen, I don't get the answer or I don't hear the answer. To me, the answer wasn't there. The tape is now here, question 3, and I'm still listening, waiting for the answer to question 1. How do I avoid this problem? By having a quick look at question 2. So in question 2, I know I'm waiting for a place. Question 1, I was waiting for a time or a date. So even if I didn't understand, I didn't hear or comprehend anything about the time or a date, when the guy is talking about the place, I know that it should be question 2. I know that question 1 is over. The problem is when I don't look at question 2, and question 1, 2, and 3, I lose them all. Because I'm still waiting for an answer to question 1. This is very important. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. So as you're waiting and listening for question 1, do know, look at your keyword, the underlined question, the next question, to know when question 1 has ended. That part. Because you only listen, in IELTS, you only listen once, right? You don't get a second chance. So this is key. You should also listen for the meaning, not the words. What does that mean? Why should you just listen for the meaning and not the words? Because in IELTS, if you see something, you're reading the question. The question is a translation of what you hear. These are synonyms. It's a paraphrased version of what you hear. You don't hear exactly the same word. So usually, if you have a word there, and you hear the same word in the text, in the actually transcript or in the tape, usually that is not the answer. The answer should be something else. Usually, maybe 95% of the times, the option with the same word is not the same match. Unless the words are the things that you can never change. Proper nouns, names of people, names of places, numbers, dates. These will be the same. The year 1996 would be the year 1996. But usually they confuse you. Because they say, Professor Dixon was born in 1998, he went to school in 2000 and whatever, and he finished his education at that time. They give you 5 dates, 3 dates, they want you to remember 1 date. That's when they ask you questions. Or there are names of different people. So they say, what was the name of the professor, for example? We'll have a student name or the sociology professor. So when you have to listen for certain things and the information is the same, it's challenging because you have different names. You have to know exactly which is which, right? But if it's ideas and concepts, it would be different.